Hello, everyone. Join me on Slido and make sure to put your name so that we can know. Still, there's somebody mentioned as anonymous. Walaikum salam, Shraddhan. Thanks for joining us today. Thank you, Mr. Salik. Thanks for joining us today. Thank you, Azra. All right. Any questions from yesterday's session? We discussed requirement lifecycle management mainly yesterday. Any questions? Thank you, Mr. Moniz. I'm fine. Thank you. Hope you are doing good too. Trace requirement, Mr. Muzaffar is asking a question that please explain trace requirement. Okay. Anything else? Anybody have any other question? All right. Anybody would like to answer Mr. Muzaffar on explaining the trace requirement? What is that task and how it is performed? 20 points for the person who will answer the question of Mr. Muzaffar, which is please explain trace requirements. So in your own words, what you have learned about trace requirements task and why it is performed, what are the benefits? 20 points. Anybody would like to answer the question? Trace requirement, what is it? 20 points. Let's make it 30. Let's make it 30 points. All right. So I have a message from Asra. Asra, can you unmute yourself and explain trace requirements?
Yeah, sure. Basically, it is to confirm your requirement or designs are up to the proposed solution or as per the proposed solution. So that's why you are using, requirement traceability address.
Yes, absolutely right. The major aspect of tracing the requirement is to have a repository where all the requirements are noted, especially for their relationships. So, for example, from the business requirement, what are the stakeholder requirements that are identified from stakeholder requirement, the solution requirements, functional requirements, non-functional requirement, and transition requirement, along with their relationships with each other. The major impact of tracing the requirement is it helps the impact analysis. Okay, so that's what traceability is, or tracing the requirement means you actually make a repository that helps you in impact analysis. That's the major aspect of the trace requirement task. However, it also helps confirming the requirement, because if what every requirement that doesn't belong to the business requirement, or any design which is not related to not fulfilling any requirement, or any requirement which is not used in a design, can be like considered as not good quality requirements, or can help to reduce the project risk, as mentioned by Mr. Moniz. So absolutely right. 30 points for Asra, and 5 points for Moniz as well. For yes, it helps Moniz in reducing the project risk, because having a requirement properly traced helps the identification of orphan requirements that are not properly used or not linked to the business needs, and also helps the impact analysis. So absolutely right. Perfect. Okay, so I hope we answer Mr. Muzaffar. Now we are moving forward. Any other question from past sessions? Anything you want to discuss? Any other question? Okay. Adnan Sheikh, trace requirement mostly performed by the testing team to validate the requirement is meeting criteria. Uh, it's not mandatory to be done by testing team. It's actually a business analyst job because testing team will be involved very like at a later stage. So it's your tracing starts from day one when the requirement started coming in and their stated status, like the stated requirements, not confirmed requirement. That time you start creating a repository where all the requirements are noted down, and then you expand on that. Okay, usually. The right time of creating a traceability or tracing thing is or SRS as well. So usually once the SRS is created, not sent for review before it's just created, you make a repository and then whatever feedback comes from the SRS review and all this stuff, you update this in the traceability. The major point of traceability is the relationship between the requirements so that when there is a change, you know the impact. Thank you, Adnan. Thank you. So yeah, so we'll move forward now. You know how we start. We'll start with a little recap through a quiz. So let's. I'm starting a quiz now.
Can you please let me know Slido number? Thank you.
Yeah, it's on the screen now. So anybody who's still not able to join, so you can join us on Slido. We are running a small quiz again. Today the quiz will have 50 points for the winner and 25 points for the four runners up. So 50 points. Okay, this is the Slido number on your screen, 98659. If anyone still have any confusion. So you have to go to slido.com and write the invite ID there, 98659. So 12 participants has joined us on the quiz. We need at least 4 more to start. Okay, we have now 14 participants. Okay. Anybody have any problem joining Slido? You can unmute yourself and ask. Okay. All right. So we have 15 participants. Shall we start? Okay. Okay, so today it's 50 points, okay, and 50 point for the winner and 25 point for the four runner-up, okay. So you remember, I just want to remind you that this session there will be on the 10th day. We will announce at end of the 10th day. We will announce the winner of participation award, and there will be 3 winners. Top 3 winners are going to get a surprise gift from Omni Academy. So trust me, you don't want to miss that opportunity. So participate as much as possible. This quiz is going to give you 50 points straight away. Okay. Okay. The first question for 50 points coming your way is, how many knowledge areas in IIBA BABOK? I think we are now very used to these terms, IIBA and BABOK, but still International Institute of Business Analysis, IIBA stands for, and BABOK stands for Business Analysis Body of Knowledge. How many knowledge areas? Okay. Still some of the participants have mentioned for 5 knowledge areas, but you know the answer, yes, it's 6 knowledge areas. Okay, the 6 knowledge areas including business analysis, planning and monitoring, strategic analysis, elicitation collaboration, requirement lifecycle management, solution evaluation, and requirement analysis and design. These are the 6 areas, 6 knowledge areas, out of which we have done business analysis, planning and monitoring. We have also done elicitation and collaboration, requirement lifecycle management, and today we are going to do the strategic analysis, and requirement analysis and design and solution evaluation will be at the end. Yes, no questions time bound today because we are extracting our knowledge from the past sessions. Yes, how many tasks in elicitation and collaboration knowledge area? How many tasks? How many tasks in the elicitation and collaboration knowledge area? Okay. Yes, it's 500% right answer. All right. I wasn't expecting it. All right, great, excellent. Because we have few participants who always choose the first option. So I was still expecting that somebody will make a little mistake, but it's okay. Yeah, 5. So what are those 5 areas? Prepare for elicitation, conduct elicitation, confirm elicitation results, communicate uh, business analysis information, and last but not least, manage the stakeholder collaboration throughout the process. Yes. So these are the 5 tasks. Okay, how many tasks in requirement lifecycle management knowledge area? We discussed this yesterday. The whole knowledge area we discussed yesterday. 5 tasks in how many tasks in the requirement lifecycle management? Is it 5, 6, 4, 3, all of the above? All right, 3 more seconds. 3, 2, 1. Thank you. Yes, it's 5 knowledge areas, 5 tasks in this knowledge area. So what are those tasks? Trace requirement, maintain requirement, and absolutely right. Yeah. Okay. We are actually still getting the, okay, we are not getting, okay, it's okay. Yeah, there are 5 tasks. Okay. Next question coming your way is RACI, RACI. R stands for relevant, respective, responsible, realistic. R in RACI stands for, RACI is a stakeholder analysis technique, very useful in defining the roles and responsibilities of a specific process. Okay, 3 more seconds. 3, 2, 1. Thank you. Wow, great. All right, this is the first time we get 100% results on Reiki. Yes, R stands for responsibility, responsible, whereas A is accountable, C is consulted, and I is informed. Trace requirement, when we are tracing requirement, is more helpful in which specific task? Quality of requirement. It is helpful, more helpful in quality of requirement, impact analysis, stakeholder analysis, or requirement analysis. Tracing the requirement or trace requirement task. Which of the thing is more useful? Trace requirement is more helpful or more useful in quality of requirement, impact analysis, stakeholder analysis, requirement analysis. 3 more seconds. 3, 2, 1. Okay, thank you. All right. Yeah, this was a little tricky question, but yes, I think we have most of the people have answered it correctly. Yes, it's actually tracing the requirement is more helpful in impact analysis. We can debate on quality of requirement, but stakeholder analysis and requirement analysis, definitely these are different techniques. Okay, next question coming your way. Which of the following technique is best suited? Which of the following technique is best suited during approved requirement task? Approved requirement is one of the tasks in requirement lifecycle management, along with traceability, maintaining the requirement for reuse, assessing the change. Which specific technique out of following? BA governance approach, elicitation, Reiki, collaboration. Which of the following technique is best suited during approved requirement task when you are in the task performing or getting approval on the requirements? All right, 3 more seconds. 3, 2, 1. All right, thank you very much. Oh, okay. Okay. So most of the people are saying it's BA governance approach, elicitation. Some of the people are saying elicitation. 30% people are saying Reiki. 30% people are saying collaboration. Now there is a small trick in this question. The question is which of the following technique? So it's very important to understand technique. So BA governance approach is a task. It's not a technique. So that's out. Elicitation is a whole knowledge area. It's out. Collaboration is again a technique. So collaboration is not a technique. So collaborative game is a technique, or collaboration is a phase, which is elicitation and collaboration both together are the knowledge area. So the only technique in this 4 item is Reiki it's the only technique of stakeholder analysis. Rest, all of them are task or the knowledge area or the part of the knowledge area. Okay, so it's small. It's a small. It was a little trick in this one that things seems relevant. Yes, of course. When you are approving requirement, you have to use what's decided in BA governance as a change control process. Yes. Also, elicitation seems to be right because it depends on it may comes under the elicitation area or somehow related. Collaboration, yes, it makes sense that when you are getting the requirements approved, collaboration is the key. But these are not techniques. These are knowledge area, part of knowledge area, or specific task. The only technique in this 4 is Reiki. So the answer is Reiki. It's the least amount of right answer, but well done. Okay, next question coming your way. In Moscow, technique of prioritization. Moscow, technique of prioritization. W stands for would, wouldn't, wish list, willing. Moscow technique. We discussed this yesterday in prioritization, along with Kano analysis and time boxing and budgeting technique. We discussed Moscow as well. All right. Last 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. All right. Okay. So we have 66% of the people are saying would, but again, it's very transparent. The right answer is wouldn't. And that's the least requirement that actually these requirements we are not going to capture at all. Perfect. So thank you very much for all your participation. Farooq Salim with a surprise again. Perfect, excellent. Farooq. Yesterday also I think Farooq was a winner, and today again. Wow, great, Farooq. It's been somebody's preparing. Excellent, and it's the lowest amount of time spent as well. So this is great achievement, Farooq. Well done. You have won 50 points. And Asra Nadeem, great. I think only one answer is wrong. And time is also second shortest amount of time. Great. Mr. Azhar, Mr. Sadkin, and Mr. Muzaffar, great. Well done. All of you, you have won 25 points each as a runner. Perfect. Excellent. Uh, Now, coming back to the presentation, yesterday we had one, we have given one small assignment regarding the Kano analysis. Just let me know on Slido if anybody have prepared for that. Kano analysis. You remember we discussed that if somebody has to prepare, all right, Farooq, Salim have done it, Muzaffar have done it, I have done and ready to share. Okay, so yes, all right. Muzaffar, please unmute your mic and let me know.
Okay. Can you make me presenter so that I can share my screen as well?
Oh, beautiful, of course. You can present it actually, anybody can present. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah,
Actually.
so I have chosen the three examples based on these techniques. Uh, the first one is our training, that is the CBAP one. So the
Mm,
basic attributes are that we are expecting, that is the training material and notes plus videos. The performance attributes can be a training shield. Usually the e-certificates are given, whereas the excitement attributes can be a surprise participation award or free CBAP voucher exam.
yes,
And
right.
the other case is the hotel reservations. The basic attributes can be sorry, it's a hot and cold water, clean bed, and in the performance attributes, we can say the free super fast internet, smart TV instead of a normal TV, pick and drop
Mm-hmm.
services. While the excitement attributes can be the complimentary dinner or movie tickets for holidays if you are staying for the holiday
Yeah.
periods.
Mm-hmm.
And the third, actually, we are the software from the IT side. So I think there should be a software example as well. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
in a school system, the basic attributes can be the fees collection and student registrations, while the performance attributes can be the LMS portal, learning management system for teacher and students, dashboard for the management reportings, and the excitement one can be the mobile apps for parents, students, and teachers, and free support for 1 year, when normally it's for 3 months.
All right. Okay. Okay. Good. Okay. I think you have done a good homework. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. So if you can just stop your sharing. So uh, yeah. Yes, Farooq. See, I need to see also your work. Please, you can unmute yourself and share the screen. Or you don't want to share the screen. You just want to discuss. It's okay.
No, I will discuss only. I can't share the
Please.
screen.
No problem.
Okay, as we know that Canna model depend on the product features and the customer satisfaction. And
Mm-hmm.
it has three categories, namely the excitement and the performed, and third one is the threshold. So starting with the excitement, excitement is when the added feature in the product or the project excites the user and the feature crosses the customer expectation level, then we call it as the excitement feature. So let's take an example for this. In an HBO, I have worked on a project named the Digital Secure Transaction Uploading System, that is called DSTUS, for its revamp. And it was already used by the customer with lots of complaint in it, like the transaction processing time exceptionally high, and they have to
Mm-hmm.
wait for some time for a whole day, and they are extremely frustrated for this. So we just analyze the project, prioritize the key requirement for the customer they actually want, and come up with a solution using the new technology. In a demo session, when we just process the work of the whole day in less than 5 seconds, then they
Yeah.
all were very much amazed and excited to see and ready to get this feature as soon as possible at any cost. So I think it was my experience in HVL for excited category of Kano model, right?
Mm. True, absolutely right. I think you have put it uh, in a very rightly manner. So see, that's actually point. So when you are actually analyzing a solution, that's what you look for. That what are the things that could really are the excitement requirement, and you put them intentionally in an area. Actually, so see, if you have if you have changed the whole technology, for example, maybe from desktop to web based, that would be again a threshold requirement. Like people are less concerned about the technology things, but like saving a specific amount of time. This is, and like reducing the risk for the people, like they don't need to call back and all this stuff. So yes, this is very important, and I think you have very rightly understood the purpose. So again, the most important thing is you have to find what are the requirements that could excite the customer, and highlight those. Sometime, or most of the time, I would say, you will not get those requirements from user. So user will always tell you a standard set of requirements that he wants. Okay, and that's where we start from. So we go for requirement gathering, and that's what we start from. So rather than going in back, step back, and like asking why it's been needed. So when you ask these kind of questions from like beyond the solution, you get certain inputs which could help you in making some specific feature set, uh, which could really enhance the expectation, which could really actually surprise the customer and enhance the satisfaction. So I think very well said. Thank you very much, Farooq. Mr. Muhammad Azhar, would you like to unmute yourself and let us know your thoughts?
Okay, sir. So let me share my screen.
Yeah. All right. This is good.
Okay. So I have take a scenario like automobile company which wants to introduce a new sedan car under a 2.5 million. So what we have do, we list down all the features which should be in a sedan car, and then perform a customer based survey. And based on their survey, we categorize our all the features in three categories like threshold and performance and excited features. So what we have after the surveys, what we found that fuel efficiency, airbags, USB charging, power steering, and power windows are the basic features which is required by every customer. So without these features, your product will be totally a failed product. And uh, and these features, which are the performance features, which is good to go for your products, and it will increase your the performance like Bluetooth, leather seats, keyless entry, backup cameras, power side mirrors, and auto transmissions. And the placement of this features based on the satisfactions and implementations. Uh, and some features which are company try to introduce, like if they are excited for the customers or not, like smart suspensions, heated seats, 3 degrees camera systems. These features are, mostly customers in 2.5 millions are not required for these features.
True. Absolutely.
So we place is not implemented, but still the customer in a satisfactory side. And these are the features: auto dimming mirrors, navigation system. These are the excited features. If we introduce these features in our car, this will excite the customer more to buy this car.
Beautiful.
So this is kind of analysis which I learned.
Very, very, very well put. Excellent. And you see, there are a few inputs in this one. And Jay, kindly keep sharing your screen so I can give some insights on that. So see, there is something that people are always expecting. Like there are. So if you go and collect the requirement of a solution of a mobile app, people are always expecting certain things. So these are threshold requirements. They will not excite it. So at the end, you will deliver the product, but there will be no value addition to that. So value addition is important, but again, you have to understand the value addition is gold plating, so that may increase the time. So what you need is, you need to choose something which is higher business value. Okay, and for this you have to go into the detail. You have to do the market research, competitive analysis, or maybe root cause analysis to find why it's been needed and what can be helpful for the users, and then only then you can find certain things. So you have to understand, usually uh, you have to, so there are three areas. If you see, there is something which is basic, like power window sharing, it doesn't add value. Now again, Bluetooth, leather seat, these could add values, and the more satisfying will be the latest features. So there is one input here as well, that also always new features, the latest technology, the latest user interface always excites a user. This is basic. Okay, so you have to also look for these areas. Tomorrow we will discuss requirement analysis and design. So we will discuss this in detail, that how to do it actually, how to find requirement which are excitement for the customer, how to analyze the requirement to design a solution that will automatically create some excitement requirements, or will turn some requirements into excited solutions that a customer will really help. It will be really helpful. So we will discuss this in detail in requirement analysis. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. It was an excellent share. So I'm still confused, like who's the winner. So what I'm going to do is, we'll give everybody the points that we agreed. Okay, so it was 40 points or 50 points for yesterday. 40. Okay, as Kazi is saying, it was 40. So 40 for each. Can you? Yeah, all three. Yeah. So excellent. Wow. Okay. The questions. Okay, so thank you very much, Mr. Azhar. Thank you, Farouk. Farouk have 90 points just straight away before we started our session. Excellent, excellent. So let's move forward with the session for today. We are going to discuss today strategic analysis. This is the knowledge area in business analysis, body of knowledge. It's chapter 6. I think the body of knowledge is already shared with all of you in past week. So that's why like these chapter numbers are there to help you relate. Okay, earlier this strategic analysis in the BA/BOK was called enterprise analysis. Now it's not enterprise analysis, it's strategic analysis, because it has certain areas that we are going to discuss that are not related to enterprise. It's related to the strategy of the organization. So it's the name has changed. Okay, so what we are going to discuss today, we'll discuss what is the strategic analysis, how to conduct the effective strategic analysis, the task of the strategic analysis, and the techniques. So there are lots of techniques in strategic analysis. We'll choose some of the best that you can utilize hands-on, and we'll learn those. Okay, before moving forward, I want you to just answer me on Slido on a small question. Okay, it's on your screen right now. So consider you have a cart, coffee cart, like a simple coffee cart where you sell coffee, and every morning you get a weather update on your mobile. Okay, based on that, you decide that whether you want to put your cart in the mall, outside the mall. Okay, and one morning you wake up, you get that the chances of rain is 50%, and you have your sales data available to you. Okay, now I want the answer where you are going to park your cart today, inside the mall or outside the mall, based on the data you have here. Inside the mall, inside the mall. All right, so Muzaffar is saying inside the mall, Sayyid Atif is saying inside the mall, Saqib is saying inside the mall. Farooq, I think so. Most of you are saying inside the mall. Okay, so how many have you have a model that can prove this simple statistic that putting it inside the mall is recommended? How many of you have the right model to display that you're saying inside the mall? You can prove that, yes, statistically, based on this data. So you are saying 50% chances of sunny day. Okay, so nobody have prepared the specific model for this analysis. All right, this is important. So, but you are absolutely right. More chances of sunny day, and the sale is greater in mall, so that makes it more understandable. But when you put it in Excel sheet, make some analytics, you will find it different. The point is, whenever somebody asks a question, you don't need to just answer it. Just remember, you are now a business analyst. Just give little bit thoughts on it. Put a model to prove yourself that how you reach to that point. Okay. So there is also 25% chance of non-sunny day as well, and 25% chance of rain as well. So always consider that area and ask the relevant question. Okay. Now, as a business analyst, how you start a project? You have been assigned with a project. Consider you have been hired as a business analyst by a business analyst by Nahid Superstores, and they have a project of automating everything, 100% paperless. They want this. This is their project. How you will start the project as a business analyst? You have been hired by Nahid Superstore, for example, to automate 100% automation project, reviewing old system and processes, ASRA. Absolutely right. Review the BRD. Okay, okay, Satken. Other planning, we will plan the project, which is identifying the approach and all this. Yes. Muzaffar, we will check as is process, which is Asra already mentioned. Yes, why the change is needed. Okay, scope of work, getting maximum information before start. All right. So yeah, this is how we usually start the project. Like start reading BRDs, which is okay. BRD is a minimum document that is being needed. But the most important thing to start with is it's actually a pre-project activities. So even planning is a project activity. So planning is the project activity. You define business analysis activities for the project. So it's usually comes after the project activities. But yes, planning is one of the things that you could do. But the most important thing, how you start the project, is not by as this analysis, not by understanding the existing system. No, maybe yes before, but now you are a business analyst. That's how you don't start. So what is the right way to start the project is, as Asra mentioned and very well mentioned, you identify why it's needed. So like if I need 100% paperless environment, so the question is why? So you might get an answer that because everybody is doing it, then you can question that no, everybody is not doing it probably. This is very important. Why it's been needed? Because what is the reason? So I want to tell you that there is, first of all, you have to understand, because it's a paperless example. So there is nothing in this world called paperless. There could be less paper. Okay, but there is nothing called paperless. So you always try to less the paper, eventually with a target to become paperless, but there is nothing called paperless. You can be a less paper environment. So I remember one of the company who decided to have a paperless environment for a very long time. They did lots of efforts, and they were actually have reduced the paper a lot. So one day there is CEO who had this objective of paperless environment, went into a room and there were lots of paper everywhere, like the accounting vouchers and all this stuff were there. And he told the staff to just delete them. They did not delete them, like throw them, because we don't need paper. We are paperless organization. Their CFO called them and said, these are very, very, very crucial papers. Like FBR and all these things needs this. They are the KYC sort of thing. Uh, so the CEO said, all right, make a copy of those documents and throw them away. So this is, that's true, but this is how people would like to get rid of the papers. So there is nothing called paperless environment, but yes, there is something called less paper environment, and you can always target for it. And Get it. So how to start a project is thinking big, like why it's been needed, why the change is needed, what have triggered the change, what are the business objectives of this change. Okay, why it's needed, the owners wants it, he have money to spend. Okay, now what are the business objective, what are we going to achieve from a paperless environment, what is it? Is it saving in papers amount to cost of the papers, or is it something else that you are going to achieve? So what are those areas? Okay, so that's called strategic analysis. Now, when we say, we've used this word, I'm sure everyone in this session have heard, or not even heard, have used the word strategic. So my question is, what is strategy? What do you mean by strategy? Yeah, on Slido. What do you mean by strategy? Kazi, you have to change your name. Okay, Salah break will be at 4:25 based on our learning yesterday. Okay, Saqib is saying efficiency. Yes, absolutely right. Yeah, so my question is, what is strategy? What do you mean by the word strategy? Okay, plan to execute. Plan of action, how to plan your goals is a strategy. Plan to execute solution is a strategy. A plan to design a strategy, a path. Strategy is a path. A strategy is a roadmap. A plan to design. Way of moving forward. Actual path, Hassan is saying. Uh, yeah, actually, almost everybody is right because it's actually a plan. Strategy is a plan. The only difference between strategy and a normal plan is the duration. A strategy is long term. So if it is less than a year, that's still a plan. Okay. If it's more than a year, 3 years, 5 years, that becomes a strategy. So strategy, whenever there is a word strategy, it means long term. It can't be less than 1 year. Okay. So if you have a plan for 1 year, that's not a strategy. Strategy has to be larger. 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 50 years for a country level. Okay. So this is very important. So the word strategy is long term. Okay. So what strategic analysis and business analysis body of knowledge does, there are 4 tasks only. It's a smaller knowledge area, like requirement lifecycle management. It's a smaller, simpler knowledge area, but very effective and very efficient. This is the one I like most, and this is the one that I implement most, because the business consultancy, it's at the strategic level. So we use that knowledge area always. So our works, and when we create a project title that these will be the projects in the company, and that's where we end, and then the relevant BA starts. Okay. So yeah, so there are 4 tasks in the strategic business analysis. First, you analyze the current state, what's happening, define the future state, what's where you want to go, and assess the risk of achieving that, and define a change strategy, that how you will achieve it. Arif, you have to mute yourself maybe, or if you want to say something. Thank you, Arif. Thank you. So what business actually needs? This is very important. So this is the question we usually start our projects from, rather than going ahead and analyzing the current system. We try to identify what business actually needs, and that can be found through a strategic analysis task. Okay, so first of all, we have to understand what are the business requirements. If they are already documented, reading them is a good idea, as you mentioned already. Absolutely right. But strategic analysis is to actually identify the exact business needs, why it's been needed, or what is the problem that organization is facing, and why is that problem coming up. Okay, so when we say analyzing the current state, it doesn't mean analyzing the current system. It's about analyzing the problems that an organization have. It's about analyzing the business objective that an organization have for certain projects or products or ideas. Okay, so strategic analysis output provide context to solution identification. So strategic analysis identify the projects that usually a business executes later on. The new products usually comes from strategic analysis. The new projects, the products and the projects comes from the strategic analysis. The automation areas, the new automation areas comes from the strategic analysis, because we think that, you know, like this area is going to be tremendously increase in next couple of years, so we need an automation there. Increase in number of branches, increase in number of departments comes from this strategic analysis. Okay, usually strategic analysis is the starting point of any project, but if it's not already been done, so if you are a business analyst and you have been given with a BRD, probably the strategic analysis is already done. Yes, Mr. Arif, you have any question? I think no. All right. So whenever you get a BRD, it means the strategic analysis has already been done. May not be 100% done, but it's been done by somebody who have come up with a business requirement. But again, you as a business analyst have to understand what is strategic analysis, how it's been done, so that you can verify that the relevant steps have been followed or not. Usually reading a BRD will tell you that the right business, right strategic analysis has been done or not, because the business requirement will tell you that the why it's been needed. So why is this solution needed? What is the problem? If the BRD is telling you that what is the exact why it's been needed, not what is needed, but why it's needed. If that answer comes from the BRD, it means that a proper strategic analysis has been done here. So strategic analysis usually is done in the organization to analyze the business problems. So if business is facing a problem, like maybe a sale is going down, or the profitability is decreasing, or you know, like there is some major problem, or for example, a regulator have find a specific problem, then you have to find out where this happened. So you have to go into that detail and find out what's the problem. Yeah, so the problem analytics, it's called root cause analysis as well. We are going to learn the root cause analysis. The root cause analysis is usually done in the strategic analysis to find what is the problem, and then you find what could be the solution. Okay, not only finding the problem, but defining different approaches to fix the problem. Different approaches means, we will discuss this in detail today. The different approaches means solution automation could be one solution. Or making just a standard process is also a solution approach. Even in software solution, making your own software by your own self from your team is one of the approach, or outsourcing it to the third party is also an approach. So these all things decided in strategic analysis. Okay. You also document the business requirements in strategic analysis. So the BRD is created, output of strategic analysis is BRD. Okay. So there are 4 tasks that we are going to discuss in strategic analysis. Analyzing the current state. It's not current processes. It's not only you know, like the current systems. These are also part of it. Yes, Mr. Mohammed, you have a question? All right. Thank you. So if you see and you remember, the strategic analysis is pre-project activity. Okay. We do the strategic analysis before the project. So this is what it comes. Usually a strategic analysis is done before. Then based on this, you elicitate the requirements, and based on that, you analyze, and solution evaluation is at end of the project and goes even after the project as well. So let's discuss our first task of analyzing the current state of the organization. So when we are analyzing a current state of the organization, what does it mean? It means that, okay, we have to have a break here for Salah, and then we'll start discussing the current, analyzing the current state. It's very important. So I don't want to break. I want to have a break between this one. So we are going to take a prayer break now for 15 minutes. We'll meet at 4:40. We'll meet at 4:40 after the prayer break, and we'll discuss how to analyze the current state. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I just need few years before we start the session. Just few years on the uh, Slido. All right. Great. Thank you, Mr. Azhar. Thank you, Mr. Muzaffar. All right. Thank you, Asra. So yeah. So we were discussing analyze the current state, which is the first task in the business analysis body of knowledge for knowledge area strategic analysis. So we actually analyze the current state to understand the organization's current capabilities, what the organization currently have, which could consist of their organization structure or the specific problem that we are facing. So for example, if the sales is going down, the relevant questions like which specific month or day have the lowest sale, which of the specific product is reduced in sales, these kind of identifying those data. What are the different costs, who's the best seller or worst seller, comparing the data. All this goes in the current state analysis. Okay, so understanding the organization capabilities, what the organization capable of, is very important. You remember we discussed one example in our day one session where we discussed an example of a production in charge who have been asked for changing an Excel sheet with doubling the production numbers, and he actually analyzed what the organization capable of producing instead of just doubling the production. So that's called a current state analysis. You actually identify the organization capability, what organization is currently capable of. And when you actually try to find it, you will find out that the organization is more capable of doing certain things than you have been thinking about or you have been producing. Okay, so it's also help current state analysis also help explore or detail out the opportunities. So, for example, uh, consider a competition came up with a new product or new app or new application or new solution. So you have to compare your organization state that are they also capable of doing the same thing? Why we haven't done it before? Why we were not the first one to do it? So these kind of questions are asked and are very helpful in current state analytics. Current state analysis also refer to the root cause analysis. So you try to find a specific problem behind every problem, business problem. Okay, or finding a specific business objective behind a business goal is also a current state analysis. So, for example, if business goals comes in to you saying that we have to increase our sales by 50% in next 5 years, then analyzing the current state to make sure that are we capable of generating 50% more sale? Do we have enough people? Do we have enough processes? Do we have same set of certified customers? What is industry doing? Is it really possible companies like us doing better than us, or is there any example in the market? So all this comes under the current state analysis. So benchmark analysis, competitive studies, competition analysis, root cause analysis, all these comes under the all these are applied in the analyzing current state. Okay, so analyzing a current state usually done by the interview. Of course, that's also an elicitation. So when you are analyzing a current state, you do document analysis, you read organization's documents, you do the data mining probably if it needed. You also interview people. You also do workshops, collaborative games to find the current status of the current state. So this is actually an elicitation activity. But because we are eliciting a requirement of strategic level, that's why it's called analyzing the current state. So this usually starts from top to bottom approach. So for example, a nice supermarket owner is telling that I need a paperless environment. So starting from him and identifying what is his business objective is a good idea rather than going to the data entry operator and finding what systems they are using. That is also, I would not say this is wrong. This is okay, absolutely right. Starting from bottom to going up is also a right way of doing it, but on a different task. So for example, you have unsatisfied customers. Okay, getting a lot of complaints. The number of complaints are increasing. In that case, starting from top and going to bottom is wrong. Like it doesn't make much sense. So coming from bottom to up is a better way in root cause analysis. So rather than going to your CEO and asking why our number of complaints or dissatisfied customers are increasing, better way is to go to the bottom salespeople or whoever branch level staff and find out why the customers are not happy. Sitting in this branch, finding out, interviewing customers would be a good idea. So starting from bottom, going to top is right for this thing, but for other areas, top to bottom. So these both are right approach, but you have to choose which one suits your project. Then talking to middle management. So if it's a functional requirement, usually, for example, if it's a new product development, new solution implementation, then talking to a middle heads or like departmental heads is a good way to start. Sometime analyzing a current state comes from an external drivers like competition and marketplace, as we discussed. So what other peoples are doing, what your competition is doing, what the leaders in the market are doing. So comparing yourself with them creates your rollout strategy for next year. So some of the companies, especially in food business, do not just like spend time on thinking what we have to do in terms of business expansion. They just follow the leader. So what McDonald's is doing, all the restaurants will start doing it. Same thing for I'm sure you have a lot of competition in banks. So smaller banks follow the larger banks, which are in their competition. And also some of the organizations external driver also meant regulation, the economy, the government's objectives, or what's their strategy, what they are thinking in next year, where they are giving more benefits, what is their vision of the economy, could also help defining your uh, business strategy or current state, that how much you are lacking in terms of enhancing that. Okay, so this is what current analyzing the current state is. Now how you do it? So you actually analyze your organization in certain methodological way. So first, you know that this is the competition. Okay, now competition have launched a new product, or government have showed a specific vision. Maybe like having a bank account with very less limitation and restriction for the overseas Pakistanis. Okay, for example, now this is vision. Now you have to compare your organization for that objective or for that specific product or for that specific problem or for that specific business opportunity. Okay, and you compare yourself. Now what you will compare? So you start with business process and functions. Are your existing business processes capable of supporting that? Are your business functions capable of supporting that? So for example, we already have a call center that have a certain number of seats, or like managed by our own staff. Now if we bring more overseas Pakistani, they will be working in different time zones. So our call center is arranged based on Pakistani consumers. What if this number of consumers are increased, and how we'll do it? So these kind of things will highlight areas. So what business processes, what business functions are there to support? So maybe our call center is good in talking in English with the Pakistani accent people. What about are they trained if the customers calls from Russia, which is Pakistani overseas? So these kind of things could be a concern. Now this okay, your line of business, is it really aligned to your line of business? So for example, if you are Islamic bank, okay, and we pure 100% Islamic sort of thing, not so. If you are Islamic banking, how this will impact you? Is it comes under your? Is it really aligned with you or not? And how you will bring it to your system? Your organization structure, is it? Your organization structure means the divisions, the departments, the number of people in them, their designations, all this. So is this really capable of handling that change? Your staff competencies, are your staff competencies aligned with the required competencies? For example, comparing yourself with competition is a good idea to compare your staff competencies. If so, are your staff same? Are your marketing staff same creative marketeer as your competition? So this is very true for you phone and like the telecom companies, like how creative they are in terms of marketing. So staff competencies, the response time, the customer satisfaction ratios, these are the KPIs that brings that how your staff competencies is. If you are a sales staff, like for example, like bringing number of funds and all this stuff goes, banking operations goes in this staff competency. Your knowledge and skills, not your knowledge and skills, the knowledge and skills of your organization. How old is your organization? Okay, and what different skills your organization have that can help the achieving the customer. So some of the organizations have certain skill set, like some of the organization will be very good in handling customers, some of the organizations will be very good in bringing businesses, some of the organizations will be very good in launching new products, like they are the fastest one. So maybe they have unsatisfied customers, but they will be always first to launch new products. Some of the organization will be very good in launching the technology, so they will be the always first one to go for technologies, although they lack in a lot of other areas, but in technology they will always be ahead of time. So what's your organization's core knowledge and skills and capabilities? What your organization is good at, how you can utilize that to achieve the required uh, required new products, services, or whatever requirement. What kind of training requirements you would need to go to the next level? What facilities you will need to achieve the desired state? What technology infrastructure and application systems that you have at the moment that are supporting or reducing the problem that you are facing? Your organization locations, where are they, and how are you managing them? Are they efficiently managed? Are they well equipped in terms of communications, in terms of reporting structures, in terms of getting the customer feedback of those specific locations? Where are those locations? Do we have any significant competitive edge on the locations that we have, and how it's going to impact the our business strategy? So maybe, for example, having a branches in areas where like areas where people where people most of those area people are working abroad is a good idea. That's a competitive edge, because if you have a bank here and you do this Russian digital account, whatever, in that area, this makes more significant benefit because most of the people of that area is outside, so this will relate them. Okay, so these kind of things, like you have to just go into this area, and this list is not this 9 points only from business analysis body of knowledge and our area of expertise, but this could go up to any extent you want. But the most important point is you have to analyze the organization as a whole. Here we are not discussing about analyzing a solution. Here we are not discussing about analyzing a specific requirement. We are talking about analyzing the organization. It's something on a very high level. Okay, analyzing the business functions to find what's the problem. Okay, so this is how you do the current state analysis. So the output of current state analysis is business needs. So you find out we need training there, we need these kind of capabilities, we need these kind of equipments, we need this kind of infrastructure, we need this kind of product. So these are business needs, high level business need. So a good example of a business need is a business need describes a problem that the organized problem or an opportunity, a problem or opportunity that organization is currently facing. Okay, or opportunity that is not been taken yet, or it's there to achieve, and desired outcome. So what we want. So what are the problems or opportunity and what we want out of them? Okay, uh, so the business need will guide the identification and definition of possible solutions. So it's only business need. Remember, that's not a requirement or solution requirement. That's just a business need. So business need would be not to or have 100% automation. That's not a business need. That's a stakeholder requirement. The business need should be to avoid the waste of time, or to have on-time reports, to save X amount of efforts on preparing reports, maybe to go green as part of the regulatory requirement. Things like that could be the business needs. So going 100% automated is a stakeholder requirement that will be followed by the solution requirement. Okay, so the business need is actually the problem or the opportunities you are facing. Okay, and what you need out of it. Okay, not the solution itself. So usually when we go to customers, they tell us solutions, they don't tell us their needs. So they say we need this, and that's the solution. That's not the need. So we have to find out what's the business need behind it, why it's been needed. This is an important question. Okay, so remember, the desired outcome of the business need, what comes out of business need, is not a solution. That if that is a solution, that's not a business. If I'm saying I need this screen or I need automated solution, so it's mean I need an automation, I need an app. So it's mean that's not a business need. That's still a stakeholder requirement. The business need is behind it. From why it's needed is called a business need. So business need is not a solution. This is very important point to understand here. Okay. Now you analyze the current state, what's lacking in your organization. Okay, and now you are analyzing a future state. Now where you want to go. So for example, you want a new product, or you want to increase your branches by 50% in next 5 years. Okay, so that's your future state, where you want to go, how many, what you want. Desired future state could be a new process. Desired future state could be a solution of a problem. Like for example, there was a problem there. I told you there are certain business needs. Like for example, I need faster reporting, I need uh, savings on paper. I don't need any. I need to reduce the number of mistakes that are causing financial XYZ financial impacts. So stakeholder solution could be 100% automated solution. We don't use any Excel sheets and all this stuff. But so this is, if for going for this solution, is that's a future state. So what needed for that future state is called the future state analysis, or defining the future state, where we will be. So again, whatever we have analyzed in the current state, our business processes, our tools and techniques, our technology, our infrastructure, our skills and capabilities, same thing you have to define. Now that was analyzed, the current state was analyzed, you evaluated where are you. But in defining the future state, you define that where you will be. Okay, so this is very important. So defining a future state. So in defining a future state, you define that where your organization will be, or how you will fix that specific problem that you have identified in analyzing the current state. So future state analysis is not to create a comprehensive description of outcome. It again, when you define a future state, that doesn't mean that it's a solution. It's actually an outline of a solution. That again, it's still an answer that how the solution will, what will be the solution on a high level, but it will not be exact solution. Okay, so allow for competing strategies to achieve the future state to be identified and assessed. So the major objective of analyzing or defining the future state is put maximum options that could solve the problem. So one of the problem solution approach could be making your own solution. One of the solution could be automating or process enhancement, or maybe just by from paper to Excel or anything else, or business process improvement. Okay, so but all these approaches should be in front. We have to put all these in front of the business users to choose from. So it's not like we have to find the solution, we have to find the different ways of solving that problem. So that's from the future, defining the future state. It's very important. So we are not doing a requirement analysis and design. That's totally different. This will be for your software projects. The strategic analysis is a very high level, business level thing. Okay, here we are actually identifying why the change is needed. And once we find out what's the change is needed, then we identify different solution that could fix that problem. Okay, now these specific solutions are still high level. These are not actually a solution, but a desired outcome that will solve the problem. Okay, So if you are still confused about the definition, just write on Slido. So we'll take up this thing. Okay. So future state provides a clear definition of the outcome that will satisfy the business need. So it tells you that this business need will be fixed by doing this. But again, there will be no specific solution. There will be different approaches to that solution that could fix all of it. All of the issues. Detail the scope of solution space, not the scope of solution, but the scope of solution space means the area, the boundaries of the solution. Okay, not the solution scope, but the boundaries of the solution. This is important. The solution will come at later stage. It's still a boundaries. Okay, allow for value associated with the future state to be assessed. So business values, that what are the business values that we will be able to generate in terms of sales, financial benefit, employee satisfaction, customer satisfaction, process enhancement, time savings, all this identified in the defining the future state. When you define that this is the solution, then you identify what business value it's going to create. So how you do it? First, you define the business goals and objectives, that what are our objectives. We have the problem in our hand now. We have done the current state analysis. We find out this is the problem, and that problem is because of this reason, because we have already analyzed the organization structure, we have analyzed the processes, related processes, so we know that this problem is occurring due to this reason. Now what are our objectives? Now we might want to fix this issue, or maybe we want to not only fix this issue, we want to precede this issue. So we will not only fix this issue, but we will also recover from the damages that this issue have already caused. So maybe your customer satisfaction went down to 79% because of this issue. Now to have this or to fix this issue, you might reach back to 85%. But you want to precede that issue means you want to achieve 90 or 95% of customer satisfaction. So that's the business objective. So that's very important. So you identify your business goals and objective for that specific solution. What is your business objective? When you are defining your business objective, you have to make sure that it has to be smart. And I'm sure you might heard this name SMART. SMART comes from specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound. Okay. So whenever somebody is saying that we need this, or these are our objective of the business, we want to fix this issue of customer satisfaction, and now our objective is to have 85% customer satisfaction. So that has to be smart. Smart means it has to be specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound. So if you see, if I mention this word or business goal, I need 85% of the satisfied customer satisfaction ratio. It's maybe specific, it may be measurable because 85%, but it's not time bound. So by what? So by December 2021, that made it time bound. Then it has to be attainable. So this attainable question has to come from, answer has to come from two things. Answer has to come from the market study, that what is the acceptable or what is the achievable level, and also from the past performance, that what is your current performance. So having 50% customer satisfaction, for example, usually a business will close if you have less than 70%, but for example 50%. So achieving this big is possible or not. This is one of the thing. And also a user input, the relevant department's input is important in identifying the attainable or achievable thing. Okay, and it has to be relevant. So relevant means if the problem is customer satisfaction, then my business and objective should be related to customer satisfaction. It should not be that I have to increase my sales by 50%. So that will open up a lot of different areas, and we have to analyze a lot of areas related to sales as well. So it has to be relevant. So smart means specific, measurable, attainable or achievable, relevant, and time bound. So relevant is very important. It has to be relevant to the specific domain that you are working on. Okay, the scope of solution space, like you have to define the solution that could fix this issue, but not the solution that you can say we will automate it. No, there has to be multiple ways of defining it. Okay, maybe an automation, a process improvement, or or just training a staff could solve this issue. So what are the different solutions that could fix it? So it's a space. You put different things, and then later on you choose the best solution out of it. We will discuss this in the next slide. Constraints. So what are the different constraints to achieve that desired result or desired future state? So you have the current state, which is the problems, and you have the desired stage, which is the solution. With the solution space that you can achieve this, you can solve these problems by these different solutions. Now you have to find constraints. What are the things that can stop us in achieving this area? So budget could be one constraint. Technology could be another constraint. Location could be one other constraint. Regulation could be one of the constraint. So you have to see that maybe your competition have launched a product for which he have done all this approvals and regulation and things like that. Recently uh, one of the bank have listed the uh, uh, some of their investment instruments on the stock chain. Now this there are constraints. If somebody is thinking about doing it, so those new constraints will be part of that list. Okay. Organization structure and culture. So to achieve that level, or to go for this new product line, or to solve this problem by an automation or whatever solutions you have, is your organization structure capable of doing it? Do you have enough staff to do it? Do you have a culture to do it? It means, like, if your culture is so much bureaucratic, people are not into technology. For example, think about National Bank thinking about having like as fast pace development, or rapid development we call it, uh, or implementing agile as part of their whole culture, not only for IT. So that's could be a little bit hard for them. So you have to see that is the culture really supporting the future state, or going for the future state, and that culture could be constrained as well. Okay. Capabilities and processes. So your existing capabilities, the organization capabilities, and the internal processes are they really are they really up to the mark to go for it? And what will be the next level of capabilities and the processes that will be needed? So you now know what's your organization is capable of, what are the processes, culture, and all that. Now what you need, you write all these things. So this becomes your change management plan actually. So okay, what technology and infrastructure you need, what policy changes you will need. It's a business rule analysis you have to do to find out that what business rules we are going to change in order to implement that. Consider an example, or very simple example, of implementing ESS, employee ESS, they call it, employee self-service solution. Now this, I'm sure your organization have it, and most of the organizations now have it. But when it was implemented, a lot of cultural change was needed. A lot of capabilities and processes were changed. A lot of technology and infrastructure change was needed, because like in branch level, the live connectivity, putting the application, approval by the head of staff, and all these things has to be considered. Policies has to be modified. Business architecture. Now this business architecture is even a more crucial document, or more crucial uh, you call it attributes of a business that are above business analyst. So business architecture comes from usually a larger business consultant, which are consulting to the owners directly, or to the board directly. So for people who are in the board, give some specific suggestion on which the international business consultant like Bose and Allens and a lot of others do that specific research and give suggestion to BOD, which actually tickle down as a business goal. So that business architecture, you have to consider that does it support the required future state that you are expecting. The internal assets. Every organization have internal asset. The knowledge base is an internal asset. The HR, HCM, or human capital is also internal asset. The knowledge base, the number of customers, the information of the customer, the historic information of customer, their family info, whatever information you have is called internal asset. So this is also considered that what you have and what kind of internal assets will be further needed going for the future state. Identify the assumption, what you are assuming as part of defining the future state. That, for example, if in Night Superstore example, we are saying that we need 100% automation. So what we are assuming? We are assuming that there is a vendor that can do all this 100% automation. And first of all, the assumption is that it is possible, that 100% automation is possible. That's an assumption. What if that assumption is wrong? The whole project, the business objective is wrong, right? So this is important. You have to understand, identify the assumptions that you have, that you are thinking is true for going for the future state. You are also identify the potential value, the potential business value that the future state is going to create. Okay, so this is about the future state. I know it's a little bit, it might be a little bit, what you call it, confusing, the analyzing the current state and the future state, because when we talk about analyzing the current state and analyzing the future state, we are very specific to the solutions, the IT solutions, as is to be analysis for processes and softwares or systems. But in business analysis, when we talk about analyzing the current state, it's not only internal process or software, it's actually about analyzing the business as a whole. So we identify, we consider lots of other areas that could be impacted. Okay, so I have a question here from Mr. Muzaz. So again, it is as is and to be, but at organization level. Yes, absolutely right. It is as is and to be, but at organization level. Absolutely right. So it's analyzing the current state and defining the future state is same thing, as is and to be. But on business objective level, on organization structure level, on skills and capabilities level. Okay, all these techniques are applied on this. We will learn few of it. I think brainstorming we have already discussed. Today we are going to discuss sort, which is one of the very famous technique. Okay, workshop we have discussed, and others we will discuss also. Okay, sort analysis. Remember this word sort, SWOT. Anybody can define what is SWOT stands for? On
So
the Slido, please.
strength,
Yeah.
weakness.
Strength and weakness, SW. And what do you mean by ONT?
Those opportunities and threats.
Threats. All right. Very good. Absolutely right. So what is the difference between weakness and threat?
There is something to do with the internal and external
Yes,
level of the like an
exactly.
organization.
Exactly.
External.
Yes, threats are external. Absolutely right. So SWOT analysis, there are two major areas which defines the strength and weakness, and they actually segregate from opportunity threats. So first of all, strength and weakness will be present and internal. So things that are in your control that you can do, and they actually exist. So you can't say that like there is a software implementation going on, so you can say that I have that automation. No, you can't say this. Okay, so it has to be present. It should be, there should be a scenario, there should be a validation. So it exists. The strength which exists, the weakness which exists, proven weakness which exists, which have impacted you, that is present and internal, under your control. Opportunities means they are future and external. So these are opportunity threat. Is the future and external. Future means not like future of 5 years and 10 years, not strategic thing, but immediate future. This is we call it 1 to 2 years maximum. Okay, so these are called immediate opportunities. So for example, if an organization, if government is focusing on real estate development and like these Apna Ghar scheme and all this stuff, there are a lot of products that bank have already launched, and there are a lot of products in the pipeline right now. So these are actually opportunities, immediate future and external. So you have to focus on that area. It's opportunities and threats. Threats are also immediate, future, and external. Okay. Okay. Usually, what we do, we make one cross chart. We write SWOT on the top, and then we write all strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Okay. Usually, in order to identify sort, we do a session of brainstorming. Okay, because that's very important. That's you need creative ideas on opportunity and threat, what's happening in the market. Focus group is also one of the good idea for SWOT analysis. Okay, but brainstorming is the one usually used for SWOT. Okay, now this SWOT analysis is these are some of the examples of strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So, for example, few and weak customer. If you have lesser number of competitors or a weak competition, is actually an opportunity for you. Okay, rising income of the target market, growing demand, lower interest. These all opportunities. Threats could be uh, poor infrastructure. The poor infrastructure means like the electricity and gas and all mineral and food shortages issues. Sometimes threats are also environmental change. So some of the countries are heavily impacted by the environmental change, like South Africa, like the water problem and all the stuff. So their threats could be different than your threats. So you have to consider your own, analyze your own area, and then choose the threats carefully. Okay, uh, so having a less competition, if that's an opportunity, having more competition becomes a threat as well. Okay, so these are some general things that you can use, but this is just to give you a glimpse on SWOT analysis. Okay, now the previous SWOT analysis you have seen is we call it graduate level SWOT analysis, and that's a good start. That's how you start. So that's always like this. So SWOT starts in that way, the one we have seen in previous slide. But that's not the final SWOT. The final SWOT comes in this format, the one you see on the screen right now. So it's not like you just identified your strength and weaknesses or opportunity threats. Now you have to relate them. You have to relate uh, your strengths that you can the strengths that can help you exploit the opportunities, the strength that can help you avoid the threats, or the weaknesses due to which you are losing your certain opportunities, or due to certain weaknesses because of which the threat is increasing in the market. So you have to relate these. By relating this, you get a business requirement. So you know that now what to be done. Now we have to use this strength for this weakness, or this strength for this opportunities, and explore. So this again goes to the analyzing the current state. When you analyze the current state, you apply SWOT, you get the when you do the strength and weakness analysis, you get current state you get the current state analyzed. And when you do the OT, which is opportunity and threats, you analyze that and you relate them to strength weaknesses. You get a plan, or you get the define the future state along with the details that how you want to do it. So what strengths you will use to exploit opportunities, what strengths you will do to reduce the threats, what weaknesses you have that are impacting opportunities. So you have to fix that weaknesses, and you have to have a plan for that. Okay, so this is how you do it. So this is the next screen, this screen the one you see now. This is the end result of the SWOT analysis that you do. By doing this, you get the future state. Okay, one of the example could be that when you link your opportunities with the strength, you get the details that what you need to immediately pursue, the strength that you can pursue with your opportunities. So for example, having more branches, okay, is your strength. So what are the different opportunities that you can exploit because of that? And what are the weaknesses that are impacting certain opportunities? So this is again an immediate, because it's your internal thing. Weaknesses you can resolve it easily because it's your internal thing. So if you resolve these weaknesses, you can achieve certain opportunities. Then you see that what are the strengths that can help you avoid certain threats. So you can pursue those opportunities once the gaps are bridged. Okay, and the weaknesses that are causing certain things, you plan for a certain defense mechanism for that. Okay, so let's say that there's a small assignment for you here, which is like consider your own department, a division, or an organization, or maybe your own self. Okay, that's goes to you. And do the SWOT analysis, the basic level, like just for strength, weaknesses, opportunity, threats, and try to put strength, weaknesses, opportunity, threats. Strength and weaknesses, usually this is the common thing that easy to find. Like you will have lots of strength and lots of weaknesses, a larger list of weaknesses as part of if you are doing your organization analysis, organization SWOT. If you do it for your own, you will not find much weaknesses, so you have to ask your wife or maybe good friend to for that, but you will find it. But the weaknesses and strength will be always larger than opportunity and threat. So your objective should be you find the opportunities and threats. Choose your area, whether the area could be your organization, your own division or department, or yourself. Choose any of this three area and do the sort. Just write, make 4 squares on the paper and start writing. Okay, about yourself, or a big or about your department, or for your organization, whatever fits you, whatever uh, is your level of understanding. Okay, where you have the access of data. But do it tomorrow. There will be 50 points. Same thing that we have done today. Tomorrow we'll do the review of SWOT analysis that you have prepared, and we will see that you have identified the right strengths or not. Okay. Okay. Moving forward, it's not like you only define the as is or current state and you define the future state. It's you also define, you assess the risk which are associated from current state to future state. What are the different risks involved in this? And you just don't define the risk, you actually plan for mitigation of those risks. So first of all, we have to understand what is risk. So risk is anything which is unknown. If you don't have answer to, that's a risk. Now that could be a small risk or big risk, but that has to be a risk. Okay, and there is one simple Excel sheet where you just note down all the risk whenever you face with a question and you don't have answer to. That's a risk. So, for example, resources, especially a good technical resources, are always a risk. Okay, if they leave, what happens? Budgets are usually a risk for certain organization where like budgets are coming from government or everything, so that's also a risk. Okay, constraints, every constraint is actually a risk, so you write every constraint as part of the risk. Constraint means if there is something which can stop, if your culture can stop an implementation of a project, if your capabilities of the if your organization have a lot of people who are like a we say that usually like a older people are hard to change, that's human nature. So that if the change is at really a culture level change or some big change in terms of technology or their usage, for example, uh, think about like a government institution having everything paperless. It's hard, it's not impossible, but it's hard. So that's again risk, if the constraints. Then every assumption, what is assumption? Assumption means the one you are considering. Okay, so you are considering that the budget will be there, you're considering that the cash flow will always be there to finish this project, you considering that proper skill set will always be there to fix it. So these all assumptions are also risk. So you have to note down in the register for risk. Okay. You have to understand that risk can also come uh, uh, from internal and external parties. So, for example, if you are outsourcing the project, the the uh, uh, the financial wealth or well-being, financial well-being of the your vendors is also important, if especially for the larger project that goes 1 year or above. The finance, because like especially in corona period, like a lot of organization who stopped their operation in February were not able to open their businesses in June. So that could also impact. So you have to consider the financial well-being of your vendors. Okay, now uh, with risk there are two associated things. There is likelihood of risk and there is timeline of that risk. So there could be a risk which is very small, but very high likelihood of happening it. So likelihood means what are the chances of this risk to happen. So we will call our higher risk, or which risk that will need an immediate mitigation strategy, are the risks which higher probability or higher likelihood of appearing. Okay, so this is what we call a risk with higher likelihood or higher probability, or specific or certain. Sometimes the risk is so something. Hello. Yeah, I think my voice was broken somehow. So we are back. Okay, so risk could be time bound as well. So for example, you might have certain risk which may not exist today, which you are aware about today, but this may not happen today. This could happen in future, maybe like 3 months or 6 months time. Like some organization priority is changing, or budget is coming, or acquiring, or your company is being acquired by, is planned for acquisition. So these kind of things can be considered as the time bound risk, which may not be today but can happen in future. Okay, so based on these likelihood, probability of or potential time frame, you decide, you evaluate the impact of that risk. Okay, what will be the impact of this risk? So if the risk actually happens, if the technical resource actually leave, what is the impact? Impact in terms of financial, and impact in terms of timeline. So if this risk happens, how much time we will lose? So this again goes to a project management, but what you do is you actually analyze it for your business analysis activities, and you give this input to the project manager that I have analyzed business analysis areas risk, and I'm giving you, because he cannot identify the requirement risk. For example, there is a risk in the requirement that if you get a wrong requirement, or the requirement quality is not good, what is the probability or chances of rework? Okay, so this you can give it to the project management, but you have to do it for your own area. Okay, and then you define your strategy for that risk, whether you will mitigate that risk, means like you have a parallel strategy of solving that problem, or you'll just afford that risk, means let the risk happens and you will accept that risk, and have the timelines impacted. You already consider that impact in your timeline, so you accept that risk. Or sometimes risk is positive, so you actually actively seek for that risk. These are for opportunities. Okay, so this is how we assess the risk. So it's a standard terminologies, standard risk assessment thing for project management, but here we are doing it for the business analysis information. Okay. Okay, so I have a questions here. We'll take question before we move forward. Okay, so I have question here. Always is negative can be opportunity. Okay, so I have a question from Muzaffar. Why we always take risk always as negative? It can be opportunity as well. Absolutely right. That's why we mentioned here that risk, as part of the mitigation strategy, we have actively seek the risk. So if that is an opportunity, we actually seek that to happen. Okay. Yes, you are right. So Adnan Sheikh is asking a question. Short of skill will occur if resources leave. Yes. So that is a risk. Now you have to plan for that risk, whether you will accept that risk and consider that in your timeline, or you mitigate that risk by doing a success planning, or by outsourcing it to the people who will take care of the solution. So that's your mitigation strategy. Slow approval process, and Hassan is saying slow approval process and unavailability of access required resources should be as considered. Yes, as a business analyst, yes, it will be considered as risk. Yes, you can do it. Now again, what is the likelihood of this? What is the probability? What is the impact? Based on these three areas, you identify and consider that risk mitigation. So risks which does not have significant value, or that are not tangible, then we put them in the risk list. We actually monitor that as well, but there is no significant strategy to achieve that. We just put like 10-15% in the timeline. So that actually accounted for these kind of smaller impacts. But if the impact is high and you think that it has a high impact, high probability, then definitely you have to consider it proper mitigation strategy, not accepting the risk as part of the timeline. I hope I answered the question. So now understand this thing that you have analyzed the current state. You have find out how my organization is working nowadays. What is the problems? What is the root cause of the problem? And what is causing the problem? Is it the structure? Is it the process? Is it the technology? What is it? Then you define the future state. So you define that, okay, I need this will be the solution. Okay, and to achieve that solution, we need this kind of structure, this kind of technology, this kind of processes, this kind of that, and you analyze you assess the risk from current state to future state. Okay, now you are giving so once you define it, now you are giving a strategy or the change strategy, that how the change will be managed, how the change will happen in the organization from current state to future state. Okay, what will be your change strategy? This is also called a solution approach. Strategy doesn't mean a detailed plan that like who will do what kind of thing, but a high level change strategy, that how this change will happen. So for example, from a partial automation to 100% automation, for example, if that is the future scenario, there are certain risks involved. We did this 3 tasks, and the 4th task is that how we will do this, how we will achieve the 100% automation. Now, there could be different approaches. First, we will hire our own team, and we will develop every form report, and we'll make everything automated. This is one of the approach. See, we are not talking about how many screens. We are not talking about what processes. We already defined that in the current state and future states. Okay, we are not talking about screens. We are not talking about number of reports. We are talking about we do it by ourselves or we outsource for the development company who will develop it, or maybe going for already developed ERPs or MRPs or SCM systems. Okay, so this is called actually these are the different change strategies to how we will achieve that change. These are different strategies. So this is very important. Now, defining the strategy is hard thing. Like defining the change strategy is hard thing. You have to think outside the box. Okay, so you have to think outside the box for defining the strategy, because we are so much into the processes. We always think for our own solution that is in our mind. So for example, when I said that we need 100% automated solution, we always think about making something. Okay, because if you are in the development, if you are actually outsourcing your development, you will always think about getting it developed. Then if you are aware about the different technologies available in the market, you will definitely go for finding the right vendor and buy something ready made. So you have to think outside the box, that what could really be helpful, what could be the right strategy. So while defining the change strategy, is not only you have to define one single strategy, you have to define multiple strategies. Okay, and then the business users or the business owner will choose one strategy. So it's not your area to choose the strategy. It's your area to get as maximum strategies as possible with their pros and cons and benefits and advantages and disadvantages, and then it will be chosen by the business owners. Okay, so as a business analyst, we are responsible for defining the maximum number of strategies possible. Again, the best way to define the different strategies is thinking outside the box. How to get it done is strategy. Okay, and remember, there could be different solution to one problem. So if 100% automation is required, of course we will achieve that, but different solutions could be there. Again, developing it by our own self, giving it to somebody else, buying a ready-made solution. So for example, if my business problem, my own problem, think about it. If my own problem is, I don't have anything to wear for a party, there could be different solutions, right? One thing, I can borrow from my friend. Okay, I can go to market and buy, or I can call Darzi and make it develop. Now, these could be 3 strategies. Now, you can say that which one is more feasible, but that's a second question. When you define the solution strategy, you don't need to think about the feasibility at the moment. You just put it on the paper and then think about the feasibility options. You put the details and then identify which will be higher feasible, which will be low feasible, and then let the people decide. Okay, because feasibility comes with a lot of things. Feasibility comes with higher budget. Feasibility, you remember the triangle we discussed yesterday, the vicious triangle, more uh, problematic and more dangerous than the Bermuda Triangle. All right, so that's usually a different strategy. The feasibility comes with cost as well. Time bounding should be there also. Okay, so you as a business analyst, think outside the box. Think about different solution approaches. Now, I want your participation here. I have few questions, and then I'll ask some question before we go for a prayer break. Okay, so I have a question from Hassan. How this risk can be reduced, which I asked. Okay, maybe you have to go previous question. Yeah. Slow approval. Okay, plan for it. Plan for it. If you know that the process will be slow, identify multiple signatory authorities. And if somebody, define your RACI. This is best way of solving this issue, signature approval process. Define RACI, RACI. And rather than putting one person, put 2 people there. Okay, it will make it faster. If you have a good RACI, RACI, remember this matrix? Make it for everything different approvals, and put 2 names if you think that people will be absent a lot. Okay, and make it time bound. Make it time bound. In part of Reiki, now you can search it on internet because we can't discuss this in this session. But Reiki can be time bound. There is something called TET, or we call it. There is another word called turnaround times. Okay, TAT, for example. So you can Reiki comes with TAT as well. So you define the TAT for everybody. Okay, and you rigorously follow that. So this is how you handle that. Okay, how we can handle unknown risk. First way to handle unknown risk is to identify, is to list, is to think about it. Okay, there will always be chances of something that you never thought about. Okay, it will always be there, and that's why you say 10-15% margins are always considered. Project managers are very good at doing it, but the major concern is that have you spent enough time, have you think through all the areas that are listed by BOK and noted the relevant unknowns? You have tried to identify those unknowns. So first try to identify the unknowns at maximum, then again keep the area for unknowns. There will always be things which you never planned for. It's always like this. Okay, if technology got changed before competing. Okay, before going to Adnan Sheikh's question, Azhar, one point for you. So you always plan for something. Like for example, I went with my family on a road trip. All right, we went to Kalam and then Upper Dir and like some valley, some very difficult valleys where like driving was very hard. We went there by road and we planned for a lot of risk could come. So like. But like there was a while driving there was a gada kehte hain na usko, but yeah, the gada came up and uh, it was 5 a.m. in the not 4 a.m. in the morning maybe, and 2 of my tire busted actually, not one. Now, what you could do about it? So it's always like this. So first of all, you can have a backup for one wheel, but what if both of them were busted? So it's always like this. So first, you actually plan for it, at least highlight what could go wrong, and then keep cushion for this unknown. Okay, so this is how you go for it. Okay. Okay, now I have a question from Mr. Adnan. Okay, a question: if technology got changed before completing the project, which we cater this type of risk? Yeah, you can consider, see if the technology change impact the solution. This is critical. So for example, if the solution is technology specific, means you need the latest technology to be run on that system, then yes, this is a risk. For example, like a blockchain sort of thing, like the projects going on blockchain. So there is new thing every day. So that risk can be considered. But again, a mitigation strategy of these kind of risks should not be that you wait for 1 year to find that risk has occurred. So you have to review that risk through the passage of time so that you can agree on something when the change happens. Okay, so yes, this is a risk, but risk doesn't mean that you just note down the risk and wait for 1 year to happen. No, you monitor that risk as well. I have a question from Yawar Rizvi. You mean change management process in any organization? Change management process is actually a different process or document that how the change will happen. But defining the change strategy means that going from current state to future state, what are the different solution options we have? What are the different solution approaches we have? Okay, so it's not exactly a change management process, but that's an input to the change management process. So you use the change management process to understand the current organization analysis and find out that what will be the risk, or how this change management process will impact positively or negatively going for the desired future state. Okay, so now I want you all on Slido. I have a question now. Think about defining change strategy. I told you, while defining the change strategy, or change strategy means what will be the solution approach, how this specific problem can be solved, and that should not be only one solution. There should be multiple solutions to that. Okay, now consider this question that is in banks started operating since the age of steel manufacturing, railroads and all this. Banks were there. So, and with the passage of time, bank started automating. So if the bank's responsibility is to keep the checks, like the signing check, and if somebody say that that's not my transaction, they have to show the details. Now there could be a regulation could be changed for certain number of years, but consider that your regulation tells you that if somebody comes up after 20 years, even you have to prove, you have to show the proof that this transaction was done by them and signing authorities and all this stuff. So now it means that 20 years ago there was no automation. So think about it now. You have lots of papers in your warehouse, like the customer sign form, the one that account opening form you call it, that has 13-14 pages, and then each page have two sides, for example, and then there is signature cards, and then there are checks signed, and then there are some other documents, NIC copies, next to kin copies, and all this stuff is, like a lot of stuff is documents are there. So usually what happens, there is a big go down where you have all the documents. Like the branch sends the documents to the head office keeps it for some time, sends to the we call it archives. So it goes to the archive. Now archive is very big. Okay, and the responsibility. So for example, if I comes after 20 years and say, all right, this was not my transaction, you have to prove it. Consider this as scenario. Okay, now what could be the solution? The problem is, in archive room, like archive rooms are normal go downs, so water leak will happen today. A lot of environmental change have caused a lot of rains. I was thinking Karachi, there is no rain in Karachi because of trees, but now I find out that without trees there's still a lot of rain coming up. So this can flood, a lot of documents could go wasted. So now what would be your solution approach or change strategy for that? Now, I understand you might think about, we have to analyze the current state, go to the site, see the organization, see the technology infrastructure, that how we can bring this. So consider certain things from your side, but tell me the different approaches that could fix. For example, let me give you one approach, digital archiving. So every form should be scanned and saved. Now that option is out. Forget about it. That's not an option. Now, tell me what could be the different strategies of fixing this problem that we have a archive where all the forms, all the checks are there. There is a risk of flooding. There is a risk of documents takes time to find out. It takes 7 days to find a document. So how to fix it? What could be the different approaches of fixing it? So yeah, I started getting answered. Digital scanning of record, that's not the solution for now. I have already answered. I need different solution. Okay, OCR. OCR is again part of the, you call it digital scanning, but again, that's usually OCR is character recognition. It's used for probably like creating an automated record in your system. So that could be one of the approach, but again, I would put this into your digital archiving sort of thing. No, I need more different solution approach. Think outside the box. Remember, now there are some people, as I told you, there are some people really thinks. There are some people who thinks the things, and there are some people who rather die than thinks. So same thing for out of the box thinking. There are some people who thinks outside the box, and there are some people who are the box. All right, and there are some people who are inside the box. So don't be box. Come outside the box. Think about it. Okay, I have online account opening form. Beautiful. Digital signatures. Beautiful. Okay, this is one of the approach. This could fix the problem for future. Absolutely right. This is part of the re-engineering. But again, I would consider this point 5 points for Farouk. Yes, but this will fix future. What about previous go down, breaking, and all this thing? The one which is in your archives. What to do with this? Okay, I have from Muzaffar. We just need to keep safe, check safe. Accounts are already biometric. Signature also placed during that process. Okay, so where that's again a lot of checks. Think about the number of accounts, multiply it with like 20 checks a year. So these are millions. Okay, digitalize all documents. Again, digitalize all documents means you scan the documents. That's not an option. Think outside the box. Yes, think outside the box. Digitalization means if it means that we will not need checks, again it will help for future. Absolutely right, I agree. But think outside the box. If digital archiving is not the solution, what you will do with these? Provide OTP to customer before clearing. Yes, this could be again a good solution, but for future. What about the checks, the documents that you already have in your archives? What is the solution for that if digital archiving is not the solution? Okay, think about it during your Salah break. We will be going on break now, and we will meet at 6 or 5. Okay, yes. Okay, okay. I'm all ears. If you have answers, I can give answer or think about it. Think outside the box. Think about different solution approaches. We only came up with 2 approaches so far. One is digital archiving that I already said it's not an option. Second thing is automating for future, which is absolutely right. But what about the previous things? How we can fix it? Send customer their statement of any cut of date and apply OTP for future. Yeah, but if your state banks allow you to demolish all your responsibilities by giving the statement, that's the case. But that's unfortunately not true, because banks cannot write at end of the statement that read the statement, and if you have any issues, report us within 30 days, otherwise the statement will be considered as final. That's not our priority. So yeah, but this could be one of the solution. But let's think outside the box. Manifest. All right. Adnan Sheikh is saying manifest. Yeah. Let me explain. So the manifest could be one solution. Microfilms is also manifest. Microfilms. Microfilms. For example, the New York Times for past 100 years paper. 165 years of paper, sorry, not 100 years, 65 years multiplied by 365 days, and every newspaper is so big, Right? So the actual newspaper for 65 years can be digitalized in this, like maybe 1.5 or 2 inches microfilms. Yes, this could be one solution. I agree. 5 points for Adnan Sheikh. Yes. Think there might be another solution as well. Think about it. Okay. But this is what the point is, like think outside the box. So sometime I'm not saying is it feasible or not. This could be a different debate. The point is coming up with different solution is important. Tag the document with barcode. Wow, this is good. Adnan Sheikh, 5 more points for Adnan Sheikh. Yes, this could be one of the approach. But again, it will help in tracing the document, but it will not help probably the damage that comes for that the document will be damaged due to rain and other things. All right, we are going on Salah break. We'll be back to see if somebody think outside the box and come up with a solution like Azhar, Mr. Adnan Sheikh about the tagging and microfilms, and lot of outside the box are already there. I want some more outside the box. Data centralization across the bank. For this could be the solution, but what about the archive room checks and the account opening forms and all these documents? Okay, so we are going on Salah break. Let's talk to you after the break. Thank you very much. I'm actually satisfied with the out of box thinking approach. I got a very good feedback from the okay, I'm still getting it. Wow, this is good. So a few more. Retention timeframes is most important, and secondly, purge unnecessary document. Yes, absolutely right. So reducing the load is also one of the idea. We can use blockchain technology to store our documents digitally and give customer search through information. Yes, this could be one of the approach. Yeah. So this is actually this. See this. Think outside the box helps us, right? So we can search on internet, find out who's doing what. So rather than telling the first solution that comes to our mind, that's what user does. So when user is saying I need this, he have thought he have tried to thought about it, and the first thought he get in his mind he just told you, and that becomes his solution. So when defining the change strategy, we have to think outside the box. So one of the out of box thinking was could be outsourcing. Like there are world's largest libraries, like Asia's biggest library is in Karachi at Hamdard University somewhere. So they keep the book safe, they have the infrastructure. Outsourcing to them if there is no financial problem, or making your own library system, like so things are easy to manage, could be one of the thing. Again, feasible or not feasible is a different question. First you have to put everything on the paper. If you are good in doing it, you will be better coming up with the right ideas. Azhar, yeah, I like this blockchain thing, and I think this is very good, and I have seen organizations executing in this direction. Okay, so now moving forward, uh, we discussed that we are identifying the change strategy. So in order to define the change strategy, we identify what will be our solution scope, what are the gaps we are trying to fill, what are the business problems we are trying to fix, is the organization ready in doing it, what will be our change strategy. Because you have identified multiple strategy, now you give the feedback on each strategy in terms of cost, timeline, feasibility, and things. But still, you let the people choose it. Transition states, like how we will achieve that. Like if we can't have 100% automation together. So there should be a transition states. Like you'll say, all right, we will do module by module approach, or we'll do department by department approach, or we'll do process by process approach. Okay, so this is your release planning, that like how these things will be implemented. Okay, now there is a technique called the root cause analysis. This is very important technique in finding the in analyzing the current state, like finding the problems a business have, or also helps in defining the future state as well, because we have to find the specific root cause. So I'm sure you guys have been discussing and this word called root cause analysis. But I would like to know that if you have been involved actively or like passively in the root cause analysis sessions or root cause analysis exercise, if any of you have been part of it, the root cause analysis, like if there was a problem where you have done a root cause, you were part of the team or you led the team or you were passive, uh, just the report of root cause came to you, root cause analysis. Fishbone technique, yeah, I'm getting the idea now. Yes, fishbone technique is uh, uh, one of the most used technique in root cause analysis. We are going to discuss that today. Yes. Thank you, Arif. Moving forward, if you have any, if anybody who also have been involved in root cause analysis, you can tell me. Meanwhile, we are proceeding with the root cause analysis. So root cause analysis, with the name, it's clear. We are trying to identify the root cause. Okay. Again, thinking, and this time not out of the box, but thinking is important. Okay. First, you have to define the problem. What is the problem? uh, what is the problem you are trying to solve? Gather as much as information you can about that problem. Means what is contributing in this problem, what is increasing this problem, what is reducing this problem, what is what is already been done about that problem. What have so you still didn't find cause of the problem. You are actually trying to find what is increasing the problem, what is actually helping not increasing the problem, what have already been done about that problem. Just as much as detail, where is that problem, which department is facing it, which division is facing it. Okay, which days this problem is appearing more, which days it's not appearing, what timings. uh, as much information as you can about a solution. Once you have this much, as much as information possible about the solution, identify the things that are contributing, whether positively or negatively, about the problem. So there will be always things that are increasing the quantity or impact of that problem, but there will always be things that are always reducing it. Think it about a tap. Okay, if you have a water leak, there is something increasing the problem, which is itself the tap, you can say, right? Because it's been leaked. But it's again a tap which is actually is trying to stop a lot of water still. If there is no tap, the like a lot of the water will come out with more pressure. So it's very important to find what is causing, what is increasing the problem, and what is actually reducing the problem. Reducing the problem doesn't mean that it's actually, for example, if the customer dissatisfaction is increased, it's trying to reduce it, but it's actually the customer dissatisfaction would be more if these aspects were not there, like the trained staff, the good customer service, the operation support, like their handling techniques, or your good customer service. This could help. So what is actually helping reduce the impact, you have to find out. Okay, once you have all this in place, you analyze those information to determine the root cause. This is important. Usually it's not mandatory that a problem, especially if it's a business problem, it has a one single root cause. Usually it's not the case in businesses. This could be the case, but that's not always the case. Usually businesses have more than one root causes for one problem. If the problem is one, satisfaction going down, customer satisfaction going down, this could be a lot of different things. This could be like a uh, lacking of customer service expertise or trainings, feedbacks. This could be some new product training. This could be uh, going to the wrong market could be the issue. So a lot of different root causes could be there. So you have to find the root causes, and it's not necessarily that you highlight only the right causes. There may be a possibility that you choose the wrong cause. It's okay, this happens. So for example, you try to find maximum root causes, and then you make a strategy to fix the most severe one first. So this could happen that you have chosen a wrong cause. So it's okay. you have a strategy to fix the next thing. So this is okay. Okay, and then you develop a solution recommendation, which is again a change strategy. Okay, you find out that what solutions we have for each specific root cause that you find out, and then you implement that solution and you find out whether it really fixes the issue or not. Sometime it really fixes the issue at first, but that happens very less. Usually there are multiple, if there are multiple root causes and you start implementing, the first one will get the major chunk of the satisfaction or improvement, but the but the whole issue will be fixed after fixing 2 or 3 different areas. Okay, this is in business. But again, same thing in business, there are sometimes very specific problems that have one specific root cause. So there are 2 different techniques that we are going to learn today. One is fishbone diagram, one is 5 whys. Okay, usually if it is a specific problem, like usually you know that by hearing out a problem, you know what could be the solution, what could be the problem. So that 5 whys, like usually they say that when you ask 5 times why on certain questions, you get to the root cause. Now this is not easy. Maybe it's easy to write 5 whys, why 5q, but it's hard to ask why, because you have to ask the right why, because you can't just ask why and why, like you feel childish, and like it's really not appropriate to ask why. It's very important to ask the right why. So you have to change that why into your question and ask. We will discuss this in detail. Usually when the root cause is when the issue is very specific and the root cause is supposed to be very specific, you ask 5 whys to get to the root cause. When the root cause is not very specific, when it's a business related, sales going down, customer satisfaction impact, employee retention issues, it's a general business issues, then fishbone diagram is more important, like unproductive meetings, like what is the root cause, what could be the root cause of unproductive meeting. There could be lots of root causes, right? So you can't implement 5 whys on that thing. If you implement, you'll get at least good root causes as well out of it, but that's not the right technique. So usually if a problem is general and has multiple root causes, then you apply fishbone. If the issue is specific and you know that there will be one specific root cause for that, you apply 5 whys. For example, usually like for example, consider this scenario that is going on nowadays, like COVID. So if you see that if a patient comes in with positive COVID, they go up to 5 chains to find the specific root cause, root person who actually started it. So that they go up to 3, but if they go up to 5, it will take larger time, but they go up to 3 levels. Like they ask you who you met, uh, and then they ask them who they met. So if they try to do it 5 times, they reach to the root cause. That's actually you can say a methodology. Okay, but very specific. So for example, if a patient file a sue against a hospital that I got hepatitis C after my surgery, applying 5 whys could help the hospital finding the exact root cause. Okay, this is very specific thing, because you have to just find who did it, what was the thing, and what equipments were used, and things like that would lead to the asking right 5 whys at right level. Okay, but if we are talking about why the sale is reducing, why we are below the competition, or why retention of the employees is an issue, or employee satisfaction is going down, or churn rate of customers increasing, then fishbone diagram is more appropriate. Now let's take an example. This is an example of a fishbone diagram. Okay, this is how it looks. So it looks like a fish. Now, some of the issues are smaller issues, so you will make tuna fish for that. Some of the issues are big issues, so you have to make kingfish for that. I have seen whales and blue whales as well while doing the root cause analysis. So the larger the issue is, the bigger the fish will be. So how it works is you write the problem here in the effect. Usually, the things that are causing the problems, you put them down. which are causing the issues, and the things which are helping this issue, you put them up. But that's not mandatory. It's okay. Whatever comes to your mind, you can write it. Okay. Let's see an example. So this is an example. The problem is unproductive meeting. Now that's not your own, not your organization problem. That's a problem of every organization exists in this world. Unproductive meeting. So 80% of the meeting they say is unproductive. So what could be the root cause? Now one organization just decided to identify. So they say that there could be 4 major areas that are causing the issue. Number 1 related to timing, number 2 related to human capital, communication, and procedure. Now they find out the detail. In time, people leave early. Okay. In meetings, people come late in the meeting. Meetings are usually postponed. Uh, meeting starts late, so it takes extra time. That's why people lose the productivity. Something related to people, like wrong people are attending the meeting. No decision maker is in the meeting. Now it sounds familiar, right? Yeah. Uh, then procedure issue, no agenda. Agenda is having a problem, wrong agenda, or no agenda. Agenda is not followed is again a problem, or incomplete agenda, or agenda is there but it's not chronically ordered or organized. There could be no follow-ups, right? Agenda, but there is no follow-up. Purpose of the meeting is unknown. Nobody is being briefed. Harsh uh, harsh people are attending the meeting, and like they're uh, having communication problems, arguments. People have their hidden agendas. So all these are problems. Okay. And then you choose a specific area and you try to fix it. Okay. So this is an example of fishbone diagram and doing the root cause analysis. Now we will discuss 5 whys, but I have a question. So on your screen you see a problem. The problem is empire is lost. There was a war. Okay. And if, like if you are a fan of watching these kind of movies, Arthurul and all this stuff, the king is killed, the empire is lost. So if you see the empire is lost, okay, that's the problem. Now I need to know the root cause. So it's on your screen. Tell me, what is the root cause you see? Why we lost the empire? There was a war, we lost the empire. On the screen, you see that we lost the empire because the enemy surged to the city and captured empire. And how they were able to do it? Because the knight troop gave up the fight. Knights, the second, like commandos, you can say, they gave up the fight. And why they gave up the fight? Because the king was killed. So what is the root cause of this empire lost problem? Like we lost the empire. What is the root cause? Who is responsible for this? Uh, who caused the empire lost in this scenario? The king is the root cause. Yes, right. Mr. Muzaffar is saying that king is the root cause. Mr. Muhammad Azhar is saying king should not go to fight first. Absolutely right. Yes. Asra, traitors were in the camp that passes the secret information to the enemy. All right. Yeah, this is coming from a different aspect. But yes, absolutely right. So see, this is what happens to us. Like we have been presented with the information. Humans now, and try understand. I told you business analysis is again we have to deal with humans. So people, when they are giving you when they are telling you the requirements, you are expecting that they are telling the problems, right? That's what we all expect, that when they give you the requirement, they are telling their problems to you. But actually that's not the case. Think about your own self. So usually what we do, we don't tell the people our problems, we tell the solutions that we think will fix this issue. So when you go to user and you ask for requirement, it's not their problem he's telling you, it's the solution that he thinks will solve his issue is he's telling you that issue. Now, maybe if he thinks the wrong solution for the right requirement, probably you end up having a solution which will not fix his issue. So you have to find the specific root cause. I got a comment from Hassan. King killed people, believe only on king and obey order, and now no one is there who may achieve the empire faith. So again, king is the issue. Abdul Hamid is saying troop gave up, they should fight. So again, king is the issue, or maybe a troops, knights are issue here. But that's what happens in the old days, like when the king is killed, the empire is lost. Frontline soldiers also responsible for that, Adnan is saying. Yeah, again, when I'm telling you, this is what happens. Repeat. Usually, when people tell you problem, they might sound problem because people are telling you that's a problem. But usually, that's a solution that people think is the solution and they put in front of you so you feel it. So there was nothing hidden in this one. There are very simple things. There is empire is lost because the king wanted to ride into the battle, or maybe knights because they didn't fight. But in order to ask the right in order to reach to the right root cause, we have to apply a certain technique. For example, 5 whys. So let's see this slide. Now, this slide after asking 5 whys. So we knew till this point, empire is lost because enemy surged to the capital and things like that. But we have to ask a why. King wanted to ride into the battle. This is not bad thing. Maybe he was a very good king, good fighter. He wanted to lead from front, which we called it like talk the walk or walk the talk, and like lead by example. He wanted to do it. He was a strong barbarian sort of thing. So it's okay. That's not a problem that he wanted to ride into the battle or because he's killed. The problem is they're asking a right question, that how he was killed, why he was killed. That's the first question. Then you might will come up to the solution that he was killed because his horseshoe came off. Now the question is, why the horseshoe came off? Can you imagine? It's king, right? So king is riding a horse. Usually king is the best rider, and then again the king who is leading the war could be one of the good at least, but his horse for sure is the best horse in the kingdom. That's why he's king. Then uh, his shoe nail came off. This is the question. So how his shoe nail came off? Because there was one nail short. Okay, one nail was not there at all, and one nail. How this nail was short? Because the used nail was used, and who is the one who did this? It's a blacksmith who prepared the horseshoe. So you see, buying a horseman was an easy job. So the enemy bought the uh, the the blacksmith who intentionally kept one nail short in the king's horseshoe, and due to which the shoe came off and the king died. So this is just an example, just a little funny example. There could be a lot of things. You can put a quality mechanism in this between saying that like next time a king is riding a horse, there should be a quality assurance person who should check it. But again, the point is asking a right why. So if you ask why, you reach to the right root cause. So that's where where we discuss the technique of 5 whys. Now, there is this example. The example that you see right now, it's on the screen. It's from a case study. It's a very famous case study, and we always refer this in 5 whys. So it's from a Middle East oil manufacturing plant. This is so one day a plant manager who's like a general manager for a plant, like he's like a captain in the airplane, like a decision maker for everything. One day during his inspection, the plant manager found oil on the floor. Okay, he called the foreman and asked him to bring the maintenance to clean it. After some days, he again do a visit and find this oil again on the uh, on the floor. He called the foreman, shouted on him, and sacked him, like terminated him. So the question is, usually if you see this, you might come across that the problem is with the foreman. He have been told to clean it and he didn't clean it. Or maybe you will say that it's a plant manager who should not do this. Or maybe you will say that maintenance team is responsible for it rather than foreman. But if you really ask 5 whys, you will find out that rather than taking an actions on sacking the people, sacking the foreman, if rather than sending a phone man or just telling him to clean the issue, that's what we do, like we firefight. So there's an oil, clean it. So rather than telling him to clean or next day sacking him, better if he have asked the first question, which is why this is leaking, the foreman would have identified it's a joint leak. The next question would be that why you didn't replace it? Then the answer would be that we didn't get spare parts from the procurement or purchasing team. Then the plant manager, rather than asking and debating with the foreman, would have gone to procurement and asked them why we are not giving them the relevant spare parts that are causing the oil leak. They would have said that finance manager have stopped the supplier has we have changed the supplier recently, and that supplier have given some bad quality spare part, because of which we stopped his purchasing, and now we are looking for another supplier. So the plant manager would have asked question that why we have changed the supplier when the previous supplier was doing good. And then the procurement would have answered that it's an accounting decision. They have asked us to choose 3 suppliers, get 3 quotations, and choose the cheapest. We did the same thing. And if you have asked another why, that why they were going for these 3 things, which is the getting 3 quotations and going with the cheapest, it's because the plant manager himself told them to do it as part of the cost saving initiative. So the person who actually sacked another person was the responsible for that specific issue. If you ask right wise, you can reach to that reason in no time. I hope that is clear. All right, yeah. So we got a comment from Asra regarding the previous example of Empire Lost. Yes. Even if he haven't done it intentionally, then he will not get his increment and performance bonus, because the blacksmith have not done his job properly. All right. Jokes apart, yeah, 5 whys really help. Okay, let's do a small exercise maybe now. We'll extend it. Okay, there is a small exercise that Kazi will send you in email, and tomorrow we will do a session for sort. This exercise, I would like to have it for the day after tomorrow, not tomorrow. So Kazi will send you this exercise tomorrow so that you can do it day after tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll only do the 50-point sort analysis, whether you choose yourself, your organization, or your division for sort analysis. Okay, moving forward, we are going to learn few techniques other than root cause analysis. One of the most important technique to identify the current state and defining the future state is benchmarking yourself with better opponents. Like benchmarking, if a restaurant, a fast food chain benchmarks itself with the revenues and the service quality and the customer feedback or the environment of international chains, that's the idea. Sometimes the benchmarking is against the standards, against the regulations, against the indicative points by the regulator point. Okay, or sometimes you benchmark yourself with the competition, so the better opponents. Okay, how you do it, you actually do the sort analysis of your organization as compared to the competition and benchmark. So that gives you the differences between the competition or the benchmark with your organization. So first, how you do it, first you identify the potential competition that you want to benchmark for, or the potential benchmark. Then you do the sort analysis, not for your own organization but for your competitor. You analyze their data, you see what are their strengths, what are their weaknesses, what are their threats, and what are the opportunities for them. And then you do it for your organization to see that how you are different. So do you have the same strength or better quality of strength? Do you have the same weaknesses, or you don't have those weaknesses, so which is good for you? Then you identify the reason of success or failure, or the difficulty experienced by the competitor. So for example, if you see that the competitor is not able to do well for that specific type of customers, or not able to do, not happy, or a lot of these kind of customers are not happy with them, then you try to find out why. Okay, and then you build this as your advantage. Okay, so this is called benchmarking and competitive assessment. one way of doing a benchmarking and competitive analysis is also identifying the prime customer motivators. We call them prime motivators or prime customer motivators. Like usually every industry have certain prime customer motivations. Like your customer needs certain basic things which motivates him more for your product. You have to identify those. Now that's not a one day job, or that's not, it's a continual process. So prime customer motivators change with time, with the regulations, with environment, with the economic conditions, uh, problems that the economy individuals face, with the regulations of the government, with the regulatory requirements, with the economic outlook. So these are changing, so you have to keep your eye on that. But if you just focus on prime customer motivators, that what really motivates your customer, and you choose that area and build it into your product will always be having a excitement way of achieving the features. So this is very important. Identify the prime customer motivator. Like we get an example from our participant today that the time was the major problem. So fixing that problem so in that scenario, the prime customer motivator was the time. Everywhere there is a specific prime customer motivator. Find what is that. Okay, question yourself, question the end user, that what is the prime customer motivator, and try to build that into your solution. Okay, uh, moving forward, there is a technique called functional decomposition. We discussed that technique in elicitation. This is also a right technique for a strategic analysis. Functional decomposition, the name is very big, but still the work is same. It's actually a process distributions, from value change to processes to sub processes to tasks to activity. So it's actually a breakdown. Okay, so it starts from a business function. So for example, consider this example. So if it's an accounting function, in accounting we have receivables and payables. For example, in receivables there will be people for responsible for accounting, there will be people responsible for taxing, there will be people responsible for recovery, and there will be the division departments. And then for each department there will be a process. There will be accounting process for recording the transaction. For recovery there will be a SOPs, there will be a log mechanism, there will be solutions to do it. So this is called functional decomposition. This is one way of analyzing the business structure, or we call it current as is analysis, or the current analyze current state. Okay, and this also you have to prepare that for the future state, what change uh, will come. So for example, if you are automating an accounting division, so what is the current process, and what will be the to do functional decomposition process, not only the process but functional decomposition from the value chain till the activity, what will be the scenario. Then there is technique called economic model and benefit analysis. We can't detail this much in this session, but I would highly recommend you to learn this technique. Uh, it's very simple. You can find a lot of literature on internet, but this is very important. I can't cover it because it's maybe like a 2 days of workshop for learning this skill, but this is important. Economic model and benefit analysis, also called business case development, also called feasibility study, also called uh, cost benefit analysis. So there are, all these names are for the same thing. So I suggest you learn this. If you have idea, if you are a finance major, you might will have some ideas about this. So I would say that practice that. This is important, especially when you when you when you when you will ask this question, why it's been needed. Probably you will be bombarded with the information where you have to apply this economic model and benefit analysis to find the business value or the ROI of the solution. And this you will need the knowledge of business case or business case development, or I would say economic model, benefit analysis, feasibility, or what you can call a different name, but that's the same thing, cost benefit analysis. Okay, so what's part of it? First of all is the discounted cash flow. It's actually a future value of specific data. So for example, project managers know it well. Let me give you an example. That for example, if there are two projects, okay, one of the project is given 50% advance and 50% at end of, I'm giving you a project management example just to explain, but you as a business analyst will not be worried about the project cost, but the solution value. Okay, but let's for example that if you there are two projects, one of the project gives 50% advance and 50% after the project, which is 1.5 years, 18 months. Okay, and there is one project which gives 20% advance and 5% for rest 18 months, which is 90% will come like this. So which project you will choose first? So this answer comes from discounted cash flow. So probably it sounds good to have 50% advance and 50% at the end of the project, which is 18 months. But considering the interest rate, considering the inflation rate, that 50% which comes afterwards will be less valued, and the project which has this type, which is 10% advance and 5% uh, every month, is more feasible financially. Again, so this is just to give you a glimpse, but again, that's what happens with solution. So we as a business analyst have to find the ROI and discounted cash flow on our solutions. So if our solution is, we say that if we implement this solution, it will save this much of values in terms of cost that we are incurring uh, for documentation or people spending time. So we cannot say that we will save this much amount. We have to actually apply and do it discounted cash flow and see how much we will be saving and compare it with the investment that we will be doing. Net present value, again, future view of cost and benefits converted to today's value. So whatever is in the future, what is the current value for those data? IRR, internal rate of return, depend. I'm sure you in banking, you know these terminologies very well. Average rate of return. Payback period is one of the most important tool for a business analyst. Remember, I told you always ask question that why it's been needed. Once you ask this question, you'll be bombarded with information, and the first thing you have to do is the payback period. So if we invest this much, when are we going to get it? Okay, so if you know the benefits, you make those benefit financial viable, and then you put it in the table to find out. Usually a software, if it's a software product that you are doing, the payback should not be more than 1 year. That's the internationally acceptable standard for internal implementation. If it is more than 1 year, it means you are lacking some business value from that solution. You have to add some more business value in this so that you get the earlier payback period. If it is more than 1 year, it seems sometimes it's mean that it's lacking the business case. Okay, cost benefit analysis. So after spending money, will I be expecting the same or higher benefits, or it will be more cost than benefit project? So you remember we discussed first day the study that 80% of the projects are higher cost than the benefits they get, and this is because the number of features they focus on. 80% of the features in a wide applications are not used, means are not were not the real requirement of the customer, were not the excitement requirement, were not the maybe performance improvement requirement, but mainly were the threshold requirement. Okay, then there is a technique called feasibility study that we do in order to find the current state and define the future state as well. Feasibility study is again a report. There are two phases of feasibility study nowadays. Before there was only feasibility study, but nowadays we have two types of feasibilities. There is something called pre-feasibility study, because the feasibility study takes time. So for example, if the projects are so big, like 10 years, 15 years projects, then their feasibility takes 2 years, maybe 1 year, minimum 1 year, but usually 2 to 3 years it takes for larger projects feasibility. Like for example, if like a Chinese group wants to invest in Pakistan for a solar energy plant on few hectare scale size. So definitely they will not just come and spend money. They send their consultants, they hire their consultants who do the feasibility study, which takes 2 years. But the problem is, what after 2 years they come up and submit you the report that says Balochistan is very risky, and like it will be very hard to maintain our things, and then so the 2 years are also wasted. So why waste 2 years? There is something called pre-feasibility study, which is maximum 3 months. They analyze very specific indicators to find out that whether a feasibility study should be done on those projects or not. So that's, we call it pre-feasibility study, which gives the go ahead for the feasibility study, and then the feasibility study follows. A feasibility study is nothing but a market surveys. You meet with business, you meet with IT staff, you identify how the environment will be impacted, how the technologies will be impacted. You do the prototyping of the solution at high level. You do the early cost versus benefit analysis. Like you ask this question, cost of not doing. This is important question for a feasibility. Like if we don't do anything, what are we going to lose? What is the cost of not doing? This is important question. So it tells you that if you don't do this, you will lose this much. So you get an idea that if I invest this much, is it more than what I'm getting or not? This is very important thing. Then there is something called sunk cost concepts are there. You have to, you might come up with a solution that we just invested uh, 3 million on this solution last year, but because of the technology, because of the wrong project methodology, or not having the right business requirement, that solution is obsolete. It's like a dead donkey. You know the story of a dead donkey, right? So for example, if you want to climb a mountain and your donkey is dead, what you will do? Carry him on your shoulder and go back and come back and sell it? No, you just, like, grave him. So that's very important. So you have to find the solution. We'll discuss this in detail in solution evaluation, that how to calculate sunk cost and how to find out that this is the time where we should stop thinking about we have invested, so that invested is gone, so let's not cry for it, rather than we find a better way of doing it. I'm getting few questions. So I have a question. In banks, usually risk department evaluate the balance sheet of different banks. Is it type of SWOT analysis? Yes, absolutely right. So yes, this is so. But if the risk department is doing it, it means they will be actually capturing certain areas of the risk management division. I'm sure marketing is also doing the same thing for a lot of different areas, not only balance sheet and P&L. They're also identifying other areas. So actually, your bank, if your bank is running and it's in the competitive area, it's mean everybody is doing a competitive analysis. Okay, you can't uh, you can't run a good business without a competing analysis. Even if it's a bakala, we call it general store, you keep eye on what other items the other general store keeping in your area, how the demands are changing. He doesn't know that he is doing the market research, but he keeps on noting it, that the customers comes to him and ask for a new bubble gum. The kids comes to him and ask for a different bubble gum that he doesn't have, and in one day if 3 kids comes in, the next day he'll ask the same kid, how was it if you buy from other side? He said, no, it was wasted. So he said, good, I didn't kept it. But if he said, yeah, I really like it and you don't have it, so then he'll start keeping it. So yeah, these small things, but everybody is doing it. The more important thing for a business analyst is to do it, because we have a lot of other work. We have to force ourselves to do it, rather than fixing ourselves to the requirements only, because the requirement gathering is the old methodology of developing systems. It's a business analysis is about in understanding the business impacts. I have another question. Feasibility study includes prototyping? Yes, but it's not the detailed prototyping that you are doing in the designing phase. No, it's a high level prototyping. Like it depends on what kind of feasibility study you are doing. So prototyping means how the solution will work on a very high level. Maybe call it uh, you can say a DFD level prototyping, or scope modeling level of prototyping, not the screens, mock-ups and all this stuff. No. Thank you, Farooq, for your question. Uh, we are moving ahead to a technique called estimating techniques. There are several estimating techniques. Why we are discussing estimating techniques in strategic analysis? Although estimating techniques are used in business analysis, planning, and monitoring when we discussed it, because we have to estimate how much time it will take for each activity. Then we use this technique in requirement elicitation while we are preparing for elicitation, then in lots of other tasks as well. But we are discussing it here because it makes more sense, because it's a strategic analysis. So in feasibility study, you need estimating. In economic model benefits analysis, you need estimating. In analyzing the current state, you need estimating. In analyzing the future state, you need estimating. In identifying the gap, you need estimating. So estimating techniques, there are different types of there are different techniques, there are different methods in the estimating techniques, I would say. I'm sure you might heard about a lot of them already: analogous, parametric, bottom up, top down, function points, work distribution, rolling wave, 3-point, vendor bid, historic, Delphi, expert judgment. How many of you have you actually heard out of these estimating techniques? How many of you heard? Not you, or let's say, how many of you this have you actually used? How many of these estimating techniques mentioned here have you used? 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 12, 5. All right, Muzaffar. Okay. 5, 4. Farooq is saying used 4. Okay. 5, 4. 13 out of 12. No. Okay, yeah, that's a common number. Actually, that's what we do. Okay, now when I will explain you all these techniques, you will say I've used all 12. Trust me. Or maybe one or two may not be used, but most of them we always use it, but we don't know their name. We actually use it. Okay, so out of these 12 techniques, one of the technique is expert judgment, tukka, experience. Based on your experience, based on your intuitions, you do something, you call it तुक्का. इसमें 5 दिन लगेंगे यार, 5 दिन, 5 डाल दो, 5 6 इसके 6, ये थोड़ा मुश्किल है इसके 7. So expert judgment. We also call it tukka modeling. So you can use that as well. Then I'm sure that everybody use it more or less. But again, that comes from your intuition, so that's always right. But that's still an expert judgment. There is something called analogous. Analogous is mainly based on the analog approach of analyzing the past data and identifying. Then there is something parametric. You put the estimates for bottom, and you make it like a pyramid. So you just put it and you increase the number of estimates. There's something called bottom up. You go to the last task, how much time it will take for making this report, this form. So the whole module timeline comes up. There's top bottom. Usually these are the impacted timelines, like business want this module in 60 days. So you divide this into the feature. One of the most important technique that we are going to discuss is the function point estimate. We will discuss this, and 3-point estimate. Function point estimate is like you say that usually if there is a report and it's a complex report, it takes X number of days. If it's a medium severity, medium technical report, it takes this days. This is, you make a standard from your Delphi technique. Delphi means history and expert judgment. You make this, and then based on this, you always estimate based on the function point, how many reports it has, how many hard reports, how many complex report, how many easy reports, how many medium complexity reports, and system calculates the estimation automatically. So that makes sense. Same thing goes for business analysts. So you can estimate your own timelines for business analysis based on this. So how much time it takes for preparing the one design. So how many, one screen design, one report design, including the 2 or 3 cycles with customer. So if it's complicated, if it's not complicated, then you put the numbers, you get it. 3-point estimate is one of the great estimating technique and we use it. We really use it a lot. It actually the point of having 3-point estimate is at for one single estimate you calculate three estimations. One is the we call it uh, optimistic, one is the pessimistic, and the third is the most likely, which is average. So the formula is optimistic plus pessimistic plus 2 into most likely divide by 4. So optimistic O plus pessimistic P plus 2 into most likely divide by 4. So this is how you get the estimate. Okay, now what, so it has consists of three estimates. It consists of optimistic, like how fastest you, what will be the fastest time to do this form? 1 day. What will be the slowest time to do this? 2 days. What is the most likely? How much time it takes for somebody to finish it? 1.5 day. So 1 plus 2 plus 2 into 1.5, 3 plus 2, 5 plus 6 divided by 4. That comes. This is the we call it 3-point estimate average. Now there is a science on this one. So if you see, the formula is optimistic plus pessimistic plus 2 into most likely. Okay, divide by 4. So if you see, the weightage here is 2 is here on most likely. So for example, if I want my estimate to be forced by the pessimism, because I'm actually making a project. I'm a pessimist. So for example, I want my schedules to be pessimist. So right now the weightage, which is 2, optimistic plus pessimistic into 2 into most likely. So the weightage is most likely. So you just move this 2 and you put it on pessimistic. So the results you will be getting will be more towards pessimistic. If you move that 2 from pessimistic and put that on the optimistic, the end results you will get will be more towards the optimism. So this is the beauty. So when you do the estimate, you take three aspects: optimistic, pessimistic, most likely, and then you make three different estimates. One more towards most likely, one more towards pessimistic, one more towards optimistic, and based on this you choose the best. Okay, so this is where we want to end our session here. Okay, so thank you very much for your participation. Today was a great day. Tomorrow, I'm sure it will be even better. Just whatever questions you have, you just put it on Slido. So we will take those questions and we'll start answering tomorrow. Okay. So yeah, so you still have time. If you have questions, just write on the Slido, please. We have time. We have time. Yeah, we'll take questions. Okay, if you have questions, please, you can ask now. If you don't have questions or you want to ask questions later for tomorrow, it's okay. We can start the polling. Let's wait for 1 more minute if anybody have question. Okay, so we are moving to polling. I'm starting a poll for this training. Okay, I think we have a question. I've started a poll, but we will also take the question that came. Okay, yeah. So question is, we will revise the estimation techniques tomorrow. Probably we'll take, okay, we'll consider this thing, no problem. We can do that. Especially the two major types of the things that we discussed, we can revise them tomorrow. Others are only like a Delphi techniques is historic plus expert judgment. Expert judgment is tukka, mostly, or what you call it, your expert judgment. Then we have historic analysis. So yeah, we'll revise these two techniques that we discussed. We'll revise it tomorrow, no problem. Anything else? You can while you are entering poll, still you can ask question by going to the Q&A tab. Also explain rolling wave. Okay, that's actually a agile methodology, rolling wave. So what you do is you actually review your estimates based on a rolling wave. So what you keep a amount and you like a sprint wise. So you give, so in a sprint, if you are following agile, that's a rolling wave by default. So what you do, you make a estimation for 2 weeks time, whatever is your backlog, then you apply, and whatever comes again, it goes back. So that's a rolling wave. Any other question? You can still ask question while you are giving a poll. From top, you can see a Q&A tab with the poll. On the poll, there is a green sign, but next to it is a Q&A. You can ask question, or you can ask question tomorrow as well. It's okay. Okay, we'll get these two techniques repeated as requested by Mr. Saket. Thank you very much for your participation, everyone. Tomorrow, we will finish the strategic analysis and focus on the requirement analysis and design phase. Okay, we are moving towards the end of business analysis body of knowledge. Thank you very much for your time and participation. Thank you.